Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair, for giving me the floor to speak on issues of human rights, right to development, and global governance. I wish to make this statement on behalf of Southern Africa group of countries, namely Angola, Botswana, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Swaziland, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and my own country, Zambia. The group aligns itself with the statements delivered by Fiji on behalf of the G77 and China, the Gambia on behalf of the African group, and Benin on behalf of LDCs. Matters of human rights are regarded mostly as an end to development rather than a means insofar as they address the fundamental freedoms of humanity. Our region is of the view that to a larger extent, the socio-economic development is impacted by matters of human rights with respect to standards and priority setting at the international, national, and local levels. We therefore believe that it is cardinal for the international community to ensure the realization of a world in which the important rights of human beings are protected and promoted as enshrined in the Universal Declaration on Human Rights and assure the quality of their lives in conformity with the legal provisions as well as with international law, conventions, and treaties. Mr. Co-Chair, at the Rio Plus 20 conference, it was indicated that SDGs should, among other things, be consistent with international law that supports the international human rights standards. Nevertheless, our region is not of the view that human rights should be a standalone goal for sustainable development. Rather, it should be considered a cross-cutting issue that affects sustainable development. I wish to emphasize here that it has now become clearer that the world urgently needs a framework for sustainable development that addresses the challenges of human rights as well as that of ending poverty and increasing social inclusion. Mr. Co-Chair, it is a known fact that the world is far from attaining the global commitment under Article 25 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for health and well-being of himself and of his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care, and necessary social services. There is therefore need to envision a human rights perspective that will ensure that poverty is eradicated as a matter of justice and obligation, and not only a policy option. As a region, we support the view that it should be a principle for the Sustainable Development Goals to be consistent with the human rights standards as recognized in international law. To this end, I wish to state that in order to ensure equity of approach everywhere and regardless of the levels of a country's development, basic human needs should be met by standard solutions that work well in the provision of shelter, health services, food, education, water and sanitation, energy, and jobs for the benefit of all. Further, the targets and indicators should resonate with the national legal and policy provisions and must uphold existing human rights standards for economic, social, and cultural rights in a manner that ensures a balanced and manageable agenda and approach to development. Mr. Co-Chair, I now wish to highlight some important aspects regarding the rights of children and women. In terms of the rights of children, the need to ensure that development and survival of children, particularly in the area of education and health, cannot be overemphasized, as these are the custodians of the future. With regards to the rights of the women, it goes without saying that women are the ones most affected by poverty, lack of access to better health, and economic empowerment. Therefore, the gender dimension should be regarded as an important cross-cutting issue in all the three aspects of sustainable development. Mr. Co-Chair, it has been reported that the post-2015 consultations have confirmed that aspects of human rights-based development, including civil and political rights, are adequately measurable for the purposes of a global development agenda. I wish to state here that while it is true that human rights standards emphasize availability, accessibility, affordability, acceptability, and equality of social services, as well as specific indicators and targets for each relevant goal, there is need to consider the capacities of countries to measure these aspects. Mr. Co-Chair, our region recognizes that good governance at national and international levels is critical for advancing sustainable development and global governance. We believe that global governance can play a significant role in spurring the establishment and development of institutional and strategic frameworks for sustainable development, as well as ensuring their effective operationalization and implementation. Our region is of the view that at all levels of governance, there is a need to ensure that the right to development is respected and upheld. This must include a commitment to the rule of law, human rights, transparency, participation, and inclusion. Further, these rights must be accompanied by mutual responsibilities from both the states and its citizenry. It is a universal norm that the state power is held in trust for the people, not as a privilege of the state. Therefore, we implore that the global governance dispensation should be redesigned to completely and distinctly include human rights and the right to development. These rights should entitle people to more than just basic needs to cover political participation, justice, peace, and good governance. Mr. Co-Chair, in conclusion, I wish to reiterate the need for the SDGs to not only provide for basic human needs, but also ensure essential human rights that create enabling conditions that help individuals realize their potential. The human rights and rights to development approach should not conflict, but rather be complementary with the societal cultural setting. I thank you.